We've been gone a long time. We back now. You twins? Nah, we cousins.
There are legends of people with the gift of making music so true. It can conjure spirits from the past and the future. This gift can bring fame and fortune.
Will somebody take me in your eyes?
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
Listen here, this ain't no house party.
Shit.
Y'all ready to drink? Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
You keep dancing with the devil.
Careful, boy. You gonna bite off more than you can chew.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
We got us a problem now. What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party. This world already left you for dead. I can save you from your fate.
You don't need no saving.
Yes, you do.
And you are?
I am your way out. Don't cry. It's all better now.
Yes, I lied to you. I don't believe in magic. Ghosts, demons. Just power.
Somebody please take me.
It's Jay. I'm back in for another one. And tonight I have with me
Wayne Q.
And we have
Captain Keith.
What's up, brothers?
Hey.
We're back one more again. I feel like this movie was just announced and all of a sudden it's here on our lap. And it's coming from a director that we dig and enjoy his work. The theme of the movie is kind of surprising for him because he never did a movie like this before. It's going to be an interesting conversation, especially because Wayne the Q, one of his favorite genres of movie is horror. And one of Captain Keith's least favorite is horrors. And I'm in the middle. So
I like horror. I just get agitated when it's just bad horror. You know what I mean?
But you like logic, and none of those horror has logic because you can't have it really to survive.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes I'm fine with it. Sometimes I let my brain go and I enjoy it. But sometimes it's too much.
You splaining, man. You splaining.
I'm sorry.
It's too much.
No, you can explain. I'm just saying you splaining.
Man.
Like I said, we gonna see. So I'm curious to hear what's gonna come of it. I will say this: the movie is kind of basic in a way, so we're not gonna spend a lot of time on too much of the non-spoiler. I would say we just kind of start off if we enjoyed it, and will be recommended, maybe a little bit of why you enjoyed it. And we'll go into spoilers and we just kind of have at it because, like I said, it's just so much to this movie. I can't wait to hear what you guys are going to say about this. Captain Keith, let's start with you. Your non-spoiler thoughts of the movie and would you recommend it?
When I initially saw the trailer months ago, last year, I was curious because, I'm looking at MichaelBJordan shooting the machine gun. I'm like, okay. And I knew it was Ryan Coogler, so I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And then when we saw more of the trailer where you could see there were some vampires, I was just like, I get tired of vampires. I'm more a werewolf kind of guy. So, but I'm like, all right, but I'm still gonna check it out. So I was, then we start to see more. I'm like, okay, I'm curious. So then I had a feeling that was gonna be a good movie. But to answer your question, yes, it was a great movie. It exceeded my expectations. I knew it was gonna be good, but I didn't know it was going to be great. For me, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Some of it was funny. It was gritty. I like the cinematography. I like the pacing of it. I don't really have a complaint about this film. Yeah. And it's been a long time since I've said that about any movie, really. I mean, even movies I like, I can find something, but I really, no, Ryan, he did his thing with this. This is an excellent film.
Okay.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I plan on watching it probably 2 more times.
Right on. Right on. All right, Wayne the Q, what says you?
Man, if you don't go see this movie,
If you don't go see this movie, something's wrong with you. Like,
Right.
and I say that like, and I tell people like no spoilers, but like, you know, for folks who are afraid of like that horror movie type of deal, because there's a lot of people that, you know, especially, you know, like a lot of like a lot of women that be like, no, I don't like scary movies, right? You know, and they be like, oh, it's a vampire movie. Oh no, I can't, you know. And I tell people, like, I was telling people, like, it's not a vampire movie. It's really like a black movie, just that happens to have vampires in it, but it's not really
Yep.
like a
Yep.
vampire movie. And so don't let that discourage you, because you are missing out on probably like one of the best movies. You know, I mean, it's on that Black Panther level, like of, you know, huge budget, starring black people. You only get like one or two non-black characters, right? But I mean, you know, and there's so much in it, like for the culture, for the history, for the, you know, just I mean, it's so much in it, and it checks so many boxes in a sense of like entertainment, but also historical value, but also culturally, you know, appropriate, or culturally like, you know, like touching. Like, I mean, it's just great. And let me just say, like, non-spoiler, like, because you've seen the trailer, so you should have seen the trailer, and you know Michael B. Jordan, they're twins, like, you know, that's in the trailer, right? So it's not a spoiler, that's in the trailer, they twins. But to find a way, Ryan Coogler found a way to put Michael B. Jordan in two different places at once to add to the collective story. That was just awesome. Like, and so I mean, I just thought it was great. You need to go see it. I mean, all ages, maybe, I don't know, you know, some of it's kind of mature, but at the same time, you know, I mean, some of us, it was just great. Like, I mean, it was just awesome all around. Please don't do a disservice to yourself and not go.
All right, so Wayne the Q definitely recommends it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was more than I expected. For those who don't necessarily care for horror movies, I would say it's more deep than it is scary. It's worth the uncomfortableness you might have, but it's no scarier than most movies. And like Wayne the Q said, it's more behind it than just monsters or vampires and stuff like that. What really surprised me about this movie is the fact that it felt like it almost came out of nowhere. We first heard about the new Blade movie possibly coming out and all the delays and stuff like that. So it's been years of the promise of this black vampire movie that never came to light. And then you hear about Ryan Coogler working on this movie, Black Vampire movie, that it's a period piece, and you're like, wow, you know, is he gonna beat Blade to the screen? And he actually did. And then it was like his own IP, and it's like, wow. And then it was like, you know, Warner Brother has the right for 25 years, but after that, all the rights go to him and his family. And I'm like, so all this stuff, um, which really just, it was just like whatever it is, and I like his stuff anyway, but whatever it is, I'm going to support it. If it's like a you know, a black man doing his own thing and his IP and his work in blood, sweat, and tears, you know, he gonna put his foot into it because it's coming back to him and his family. You know, it's almost like saying, do what you want, do what I want, and you paying for it, and I do what I want. Oh, okay, step back. And so that's what I got when I saw it. I made a purpose to see it in 70 millimeters. So I saw it on actual film. I could hear the projector in the background. The colors and stuff was warm. I saw little defects and stuff on the screen. So that was a trip. And I saw it in Oakland, you know, at the Grand Lake. And it was just like, yes. And so I plan on seeing it several more times. I would highly recommend it. It is for everybody? Probably not. But I think that everybody should give it a chance. Do I think it's for kids? Probably not. If they're at a questionable age, you can easily cover their eyes for certain parts and stuff like that. But like I said, it's worth the scare.
Yeah.
If you're scary like that. But if you can tolerate the trailer, then you should be able to survive the film. So we'll end it with that. So it seemed like everybody really enjoyed it. And so we all suggest that people go check it out. And like I said, just go ahead and see it now to make this thing a successful thing so he could do more, so other people have opportunity to do more personal IP, and let's support the things that are really coming from a different place. Because this could have been a simple movie, but when it came with somebody who had purpose and love for what he was doing, made something so simple feel so much greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to spoilers. And now I'm open to however y'all want to do it. It was a lot going on. It was so much what it was advertised and so much not what was advertised.
Right.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
So Kiefer, you'd like to
Yeah.
start?
Sure. I mean, where do I start? So I noticed that when the movie opened up and then we saw, the young brother coming in with the guitar neck and the scratch on his face, I'm thinking, oh, is he a vampire? Is he going to turn in the church? And they led us to believe that might happen, but it didn't. I also noticed that his daddy was played by Saul Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. The slam poet. So I'm like, all right, good to see Saul. I loved how he took the blues and he showed how it connected to all the Black music throughout this world, throughout all the Black culture, and he even infused other cultures with it too. I love that. I love the part about, when you play your music, you're piercing the veil. I never really heard the story told that way before. You hear the story like in Crossroads. Well, Robert Johnson allegedly sold his soul so he could play guitar and be the best blues guitarist in the world, the price he paid. But you never seen this type of story where he's talking about certain people play so well, good and evil becoming for it. It brings that world in. I thought that was amazing. That was a very original, very creative. I guess what really moved me was like I said, when we started seeing them dancing, the blues, and he showed hip hop, he showed the dancing, he showed all the different cultures and how all of modern music, that the brother looking like he came from Funkadelic playing guitar. I love seeing all that. That was a pleasant surprise that I did not know I was gonna get. And he literally, like I said, took everybody to school who didn't know, especially for the younger people, this all comes from the blues. And he did it in such a way that was just beautiful to me. And then by the end, when we see the main character, the young boy, winds up being Buddy Guy, and the way he gave Buddy Guy his flowers in this film towards the end, I was not expecting that. That was a beautiful moment because Buddy Guy's like the last blues legend left who's alive, Black at least. And I was just really happy to see that at the end. And then, of course, we see Stack with his girlfriend. I wasn't expecting to see any of that either. So, and the flashback about the deal he made, I liked all of that. But I really, really, really liked how we see these Klansmen as vampires and what was going on with that and how the one vampire who wasn't a Klansman was trying to entice the Black people like, hey, you ain't got to do any of this. I wasn't expecting that to be a part of the story. And the way Ryan wrote that was just very realistic, at that time period. He's like, they don't care about you. They setting y'all up.
Right.
They was going, he sold you this. He gonna come and kill you. He's the Grand Dragon. I wasn't expecting any of that. But so all of that, just how that was a part of the story of slavery and, and just segregation. That was cool. I really, really enjoyed the whole Buddy Guy aspect of it. But by the end, he's this blues legend, and just seeing him in the movie, I was like, what? You put him in here? And now you got me looking at him differently, like, is any of this kind of like your story? Now I want to call up Buddy Guy and be like, hey, you got something you got to tell us? But yeah, I really enjoyed all that. Yeah, the surprises, the things that he added that I had no idea he was going to put into this story, those moments, especially, like I said, just showing how blues affected music all over the world. And how you saw all the different Black people and then Asian people and other people all being affected and influenced by this. I loved all that. Yeah, that was probably my favorite part. I mean, that and of course, when Smoke was stood his last ground. When he stood his last ground, he killed them Klansmen. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. He didn't care. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. I will disagree with you on this, Keith, but not like And the only reason we have different experiences, so like I don't know who the buddy guy is and all this kind of stuff, you know.
Okay.
So like it looks differently for me, right, when I watch it, because like
Mm-hmm.
I interpreted the movie, it's not about blues, but it's about music in general. And the only reason I say that is because at the beginning they give you that kind of that kind of I don't know, what is it, prelude or whatever about folks, over time, especially, like music, like these, what they would call the sinners, right? They come back from in Africa and that was brought here. So therefore, it wouldn't just be blues, right? Because it wasn't blues back when we was in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And so but it was music more so. So I wouldn't limit it to just blues because it was just music. And like the reason I say it was just music because music has been around longer than just blues, right? So then when they showed how music transcends time and space, and that's why it was more so like because the Asians were there, the Asian couple was there. That's why you see the geishas.
Right.
Because it was music, not necessarily blues, right? Because if you think about it, blues might not have touched Asia, but blues wasn't around for the geishas. So, but music was, and so I appreciate it because it showed that music transcends space and time, and just music in general from us, spawns a new genre each and every time, right? Rhythm, right? Drums that got here to blues. Then somebody made a guitar. Okay, now it's blues. And then somebody made the this and that. Okay, now it's electric rock and roll, Chuck Berry. And then somebody did, so it was like just the music of it all. And then which tied into the vampire part where this vampire had been around. And shout out to him for like including the Choctaw Nation.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just I just couldn't. I was not even ready for that. Like, but the vampire wanting this boy because this boy is one of the sinners and touched in the sense of his music, blues, whatever it is, but his music transcends space and time, and he wants that so that he can see his original, I guess, time frame and his folks where he went, blah, blah, blah. And that just blew the whole thing out the water. Like, I mean, it was just, that aspect, that scene, like you said, was just so powerful, right? I mean, and if you notice again, because of Black folks in this room and then the Asian folks, you only see Black folks and then you see the geishas and where it comes from that. Now, to me personally, I would have loved to see a Jabberwocky in there. I mean, I thought that was great. But
but that's the same interpretation of the B-boy who they showed already. Because Jabberwocky was copying them, so you already had the guy with the Kango hat and B-boy. That's already covered. That's where the Jabberwockies got it from.
That's true. Very true. Very true.
That was covered.
But just that part. I mean, and then so that part, next level. Again, black movie with vampires, not vampire movie with Black people. But man, just the Smokestack Brothers. I mean, like that. That was just.
It was
the
dope.
way he did that. It was so clever. Because I know they do that every once in a while where they have an actor play twins. Like they did that with the guy who played Bane.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Yeah, I mean he did it, and then some of they do that every once in a while. But the way that they, and don't get me wrong, right? They could be two different people, but the way he did that, where they were separated for the first half of the movie for the most part, and so you get Michael B. Jordan really showing these two different characters, but he's still a star. Like it's crazy. And I mean, and you see the difference between them, like, and just how they operate, the smoothness and that talk game that Stack had, but do not fuck with Smoke. Like, like just that. Oh my God, that whole. And I don't mean to take up a lot of the time. I just there were certain pieces of the story that like it made you smile, even though it was like again. These two twins and they worked for Al Capone and blah, 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 blah. You heard of the Smokestack Brothers, right? But then like, you get the gentle and then, you get the gentle and then you get the giant too, right? So it's like that scene where he pulls up, he knows somebody's going to try to take from the truck. So he like goes up to the girl. He's like, hey, I need you to do, have you heard of the Smokestack Brothers? And she's like, she starts backing up because she's like, "Oh, I heard of y'all. Y'all dangerous." And I'll give you 10 cents to watch the truck. Okay, but wait, hold up, back up. The way and starts breaking down the way the world works and stuff like that. So you're gonna have to negotiate.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
I'm
was
offering
cool.
you 10 and then you off, and then ended up where she gets,
Yeah,
where she gets more than what he initially offered, and it was his
yeah,
idea to do it. That makes you smile. That makes you be like,
yeah,
damn. Because
yeah.
there's the gentle, but then there's the taken from the truck. And then it's like, then here come the giant where it's like, oh, Smoke, this your truck? Oh, I didn't know this was your truck. Yes, you did. I told you it was Smoke truck. And then pow, I'm gonna shoot you again because I can't have them thinking that the Smokestack brothers ain't about they like
Exactly.
no, like the flipping when you get stacked and he stops to pick up cornbread and he's like, "Hey man, I got a job for you." He's like, "Yeah, man, but I'm out here with my wife." He's like, "Man, F your wife." And it's like, bro, what you say? I'm about to beat your ass. He's like, I got something for you right now that's gonna have your pregnant wife that's in the field picking cotton right now. I got something money for you that's gonna like get her out of this situation. Probably get you some special attention later too. And then when he's like ready to go whoop on him, he's and she says, Stop. How much money we talking?" Like, like that kind of stuff again, like
Realistic too.
yeah, the realistic piece of it is like, damn, like that was crazy. And then I
Yeah,
think the other
great
part
writing.
just
Yeah.
was really, I don't know, it was just cool to see, them touch base on some of the what is now called voodoo, right? And of course,
Hmm.
demonized because of Christianity, right? Uh,
Yeah.
to show that no, that has historic purposes, but also it's more so granted towards that healing piece where those mysticisms that she used kept Smoke safe throughout his endeavors, which ultimately ended up keeping Stack safe, right? So then it's like, so
Yeah.
then you see it where, yeah, he's been safe this whole time from all the battles and the wars, and then even with the vampires and being pulled out by cornbread and against the brother, like he's been safe this whole time, and then for him to rip it off, knowing that that's what kept him safe, and finally acknowledging, okay, yeah, I mean that was huge too. So I'm gonna leave it at that because I know I could just go on, but I just those some major key pieces. I'm just I mean, and again, there was no downtime. There was no part where I had to readjust myself in my seat. Like, damn, man, this movie's still on. Like there was just
That was an excellent film.
yeah, just through start to finish, it was just
Yeah.
like even with it being a
It's
time
flawless.
period piece, right? Even with it
Yeah.
being a time period piece,
Yeah.
1932. I saw that and I was like, oh, here we go.
I know you don't care for them that that
You know what
old
I'm saying? I
stuff.
was like, oh, here we go. It's about to be some white man get the rope, string him up. Like, I was just ready for it.
You
But it
sound like
wasn't
me,
that.
Wayne. You sound like me.
It wasn't that. I mean, and again,
But
I mean,
but most movies are like that. So it's period piece.
Yeah.
That's kind of like part of it. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't somebody
Yeah.
think that?
well, no,
And
I know.
Yeah.
That's
no,
what.
no, I'm saying it makes sense that you would think that because who wouldn't? Because
Hmm.
that's why those movies go.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that and also too, the system is putting out those type of movies because it needs to perpetuate that stereotype, right?
Hmm.
12 Years a Slave, Django,
Yeah.
Birth of a Nation,
Oh yeah.
whatever the other one, all these movies about the Civil War and blah blah
Yeah.
blah, slave this, slave that, slave this, so, or Jim Crow or this or whatever,
But
and
but Wayne, real quick, but you know what's so funny? Because usually also, even though I don't necessarily say this, a lot of times with those kind of movies, in a way, I almost feel a little bit embarrassed to see them, on big screen. I hate to see them in mixed audience. I hate to see them with folks that look like me.
oh yeah,
Because we're kind of like down bad and you don't feel anything about it. So it's amazing that he's able to do a movie during this time,
yeah,
showing those kind of things, and you still felt like proud of what people were doing. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It didn't feel embarrassed. It didn't look down on. They were actually just people that were in a certain
oh,
circumstance, which
I'm
I
a,
love.
I'm gonna take it a step further on what you just said, right? Think about it like this movie, right? On surface level,
Yeah.
white man, vampire, he's the devil,
Yeah.
right? But go deeper into that, and you see the monster is still just the regular white man. The vampire devil is like, no, we family, we can be community. If I bite you, that don't matter. Like we won, we community. It's almost like you think like, wait a minute, hold up.
Right.
The actual monster white man is okay, but the white man monster, like, is not okay. Like,
the vampire had a better deal than society.
Yep.
Like it's like
He wasn't
the monster.
racist. He just wanted your blood. He wasn't
Yeah,
racist.
it's like that to take it deep, like, and so to see
Yeah.
a movie
It's
like
deep.
this,
Yeah.
to see a movie
It's
like
deep.
this, time period piece, 1832, middle of Jim Crow in Mississippi, they tell like that slavery definitely never ended. And it's like, okay, well, damn, wait a minute. The actual white guy who's not a monster, not trying to, kill you in a sense, is actually better than the white man that is trying to kill you in a sense. Like, like, man. Okay, I forfeit my time, Jay. Like, so you can have it because you can just keep going. Like, we just keep going. I keep going.
So also the scene you were talking about, keep with the music, where Sammy was singing and kind of opening up the, in between the worlds and stuff and showing that.
Uh-huh.
I tell you, man, that brought tears to my eyes. And I when I was watching it confused me. 'Cause I'm like, wait, what is this? 'Cause I saw things that shouldn't have been there. And they I see the guy with the electric guitar, and it's just like, it should have snapped me out of it, right? Because at first I saw the guy playing drums in there, and it just kept moving around. And I was like, it kept building, and it was just like disconnect, connect. Oh, I've never seen this before. Wait. I've heard this. I've heard sayings of this. I heard this mentioned, and we talk about how it's all connected and how it comes from the motherland, all this kind of stuff. I've never seen it visually. My eyes aren't ready for this. I'm catching on. And it just brought tears to my eye. It choked me up. It was so beautiful. Thinking about how that would look, you would think, I'm not going to do that because it's going to snap people out of the vision, right? It all laid down so nicely. And what tripped me out and what I thought was very powerful and kind of unfortunate was we had that going and we were using that for entertainment. And the literal devil/vampire is the one who's seen it for what it was. We're playing with it and he knows the power in it. And we're just using it for entertainment. And he wants it to change his world.
Yes. Almost like he knows the history of it. We don't know the history.
Right. He saw those ancestors, not us.
Yes.
Right.
Not the people in the juke joint.
Right.
The vampire saw that was his perspective. He saw it all. Where we open up the world and see the stuff.
He saw without the walls. He saw
he saw through it. He saw all of it.
Bruh.
We were just having a good time dancing. He saw it for what it was, and that's why he wanted in. That was powerful. And it's also a lesson of we gotta know who we are and what we have.
Yes,
sir.
And move accordingly.
Yes, sir.
And I thought it's kind of interesting because you have all these different religions or ways of believing, from hoodoo to Christianity and all this other kind of stuff. And even the stuff, in a way, you had the vampire and his cult that he's kind of pulling together. And it was interesting that everybody was gunning for Sammy for what he had. And Sammy saw, like, I got the devil pulling me on this side, and I got my dad pulling me on this side. But his religion and his faith and his salvation was his guitar. And therefore, he wasn't going to let that go.
Right.
He wanted to stay out of it. Like, all of them are questionable to me, but I know what's true and know what's real is my guitar, my music.
Yep.
He denied the devil and God in a way, or religion, and stuck with his music, and I'll figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
It was.
Yes.
That was powerful.
Yeah. Broke it down some more. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't even think. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think about that. You're right, though. The vampire saw it all.
Yeah, in my mind, I knew that we weren't seeing, like, the audience is seeing, the guitar and the geishas. I know we were, and it's like subconsciously I knew they weren't seeing it.
Yeah.
But I remember when they showed it without the juke joint with no walls, and just everybody was just, and I didn't think about it, and that's what drew him. Yes, so for him to know the history.
Yeah, he saw it all.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong.
The past and the future. So the past and the future. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I know that it's Annie. Annie, she's in tune with, right? Because she's still in tune with the voodoo practices. I'm gonna put air quotes around it, voodoo practices. Because I know it's, again, the demonized version of the modern times, right? But she's in touch with it, so she knows because again, she's in touch with it. Because that knowledge has been passed down and passed down. That's how she's the only one to know what vampires are.
Right, because she does that for him, the hoodoo stuff, and give him the little pouch and mojo bag and all that kind of stuff. And she says she prayed for him. So it's a combination of all these things, and everything is kind of being respected in this and given equal opportunities as far as showing how we don't know if any of it works or if it all works. But I love it's all respected. Nothing is really, really downed. Everything kind of have its way to shine. But it was interesting to see the only thing that survived and combated all that stuff really was the music. Because even when you saw like the vampire saying the Lord's Prayer, basically baptizing Sammy, he was like, so what does that mean? Because Sammy was going to what he thought when his dad was talking to him earlier, and he was saying the prayer and the scripture is pretty much saying God won't put you in a situation that he won't give you the tools to get out of. And so he's in a situation and he's saying, the Lord's Prayer. And that's supposed to kind of rebuke the devil, right? And that's not working. The devil was saying the Lord's Prayer with him. Talking about, they told me this too when they stole my land, but it gives me peace in my heart. But they still took my land when they did it. But you know what worked? That music, that guitar hit him across his head with that silver affected him. So his music saved his life in that situation.
You see, he ain't let that guitar thing go.
That music is what saved him. That music was saved him because saying that Lord's Prayer didn't work in that situation.
Right.
And that's probably why he really held on.
Right. I'm not putting this down.
Right.
Please.
Why to give up the thing that saved me? Yeah.
Man, can I just say like that ending though? I mean that that post credit. I'm gonna say mid credit, but when I knew it. I knew something was wrong when the security guy said, "Oh yeah, y'all can come in." Yeah. Oh my! And then he turned around and didn't see the security guy. And I was like, "Dang, who made it?" Like I was like, who made it?" Like, and when you see Michael B. Jordan, well, you see her walk in first, and then you see Michael B. Jordan walk in.
Yeah, and with the Tupac, he had the Tupac haircut with the Biggie sweater.
Yeah, he had that 90s flair. Oh my God. I was like, this is
the stack.
This is everything.
Five-finger ring.
It was just crazy because I was like, how did he make it? And so when he explained it, I was like, wow. I was like, it made so much sense because when he said, Smoke made me promise never to mess with you. Until you, was older, and it just, again, that hit on a different level too. Cause it's like, again, so for like, what, 70 years? Like, he kept his promise to his brother.
Yeah.
70 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean that, and made her keep it too. He didn't have to because his brother's dead.
Right.
He had to, but he did it. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then, I think also too, one of the parts I really liked about that scene was, remember he was finna leave, he was finna walk out, and he still offered him the joint. He's like, I can give you this. Right. And you can just keep playing music forever. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when he was about to walk out, and Sam was like, that was the best day of my life.
Yeah.
That day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he said, was that the same for you? And he said, yes, because that was the last full day that I got to be with my brother. Yeah. And I was like, and just all the stuff.
See the sunrise.
Happened.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, man, that's crazy. Like, I mean, that whole scene. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask y'all, did y'all peep how it was so weird when, like, so you had Smoke and you had Stack, right? And they had their own characters, right? They had, their personalities. But when Stack became a vampire, it was almost like I guess the vampirism gave him more courage. So then it was almost like he had the same amount of courage that Smoke had. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was almost like they, because there was always the Smoke, even Smoke alluded to it. Hey, Sammy, watch his back because he can't watch his own back. Or Smoke actually killed the dad because the dad was on Stack head. You know what I'm saying? Like, or Smoke making sure his business going on and we getting paid because Stack like, oh, well, just let him, And it was just like, there was a switch when that happened where he's like, he's on the same level with Smoke now. Like, you know what I mean? Got the same level of Like, go get it. I don't know. Maybe that was just me that kind of peeped at it. Maybe I was just reading too much into it. But it just almost seemed like they were low-key about to, I don't know, converge almost. So like now that he had that confidence, that Smoke had this whole time. Stack had the confidence that Smoke had the whole time. It was almost like, oh shit, like I like this. I like seeing Stack like this too. So anyway.
Well, Stack definitely embraced his vampirism. He took to it naturally.
Yeah.
Well, I was surprised. I mean, because he's like, no, this is it. It was like it was something that was missing in his life that he didn't know.
That boldness,
yeah.
Okay, so part of it, like you guys are saying, he's a vampire now, he's indestructible in a way, and so it'll probably give him more confidence or whatever. Just like if you learn martial arts or something, or you learn gun training, or you learn how to protect yourself, you move differently, or you're confident in something, it gives you a little bit more swag. So I think part of it is that, but then also, I think when he was saying he needs somebody to kind of watch his back, it's probably because one, he's kind of more talkative and more reckless. He don't really think it out. So he gets himself into more trouble, but I don't think that necessarily doesn't mean that he can't handle himself. I'm sure
No.
I think he can handle himself too.
That's not, and that's not what I meant. I meant more, I mean, again, because you know how bold you got to be to tell somebody, fuck your wife in front of you, like,
right.
break your wife. So you got to be bold, but again, he's not bold enough to where he finishes it out. He uses his mouthpiece is his weapon, not his gun, right? And so don't get me wrong, they both work for Capone, right?
Right. So I would assume it'd be like if you, like if you're close to somebody or whatever, or even with them being twins and stuff like that, it's almost kind of like when they're not together, you just have to start offsetting because sometimes you take advantage of because you have a partner or a situation, right? And so when that situation changes, then you kind of got to compensate for the whole thing. And that's with any kind of thing. So he kind of lost his brother, and his brother might be the one that, like I said, he was the one that was kind of smooth talking, but since he don't have his brother anymore, he kind of got to do both parts, or his lady is offset and doing what his brother was no longer there to do.
I don't know. And now thinking about it, I actually think there was a change, right? Because like, look at, and the example I'm gonna use is, think about Sammy, right? So again, when they were separate, Michael B. Jordan, when it was Stack, right? Stack got to use his mouthpiece to get what he wants. That's just what it is. Again, he bold as, you heard Smoke Stack Brothers. Yeah. But everybody knew in that movie, not, out of those two, do not mess with Smoke.
Yeah.
They all knew that. Like, you think about it, like it was a couple times they made reference to that, where it was like, Smoke, this your truck? And he didn't say, oh, that's Smokestack Brothers truck. This is like, Smoke, this your truck? Like, or it was a couple other references. I'm gonna watch it again to get the references.
Well, he definitely is the aggressor.
And Stack is more of the talker. That's just what he does, right? So, but toward the end, look, and go back to my example, look at the way that Sammy responded to both of them, right? So, and this is the talker versus the puncher. So when Sammy was alone with Stack talked. It was almost like he was breathing life into him, right? And part of his last little, samage of the best day ever was when he was with Stack in the car.
Yeah, he gave him game. That's how he got the lady.
Well, yeah, right. But see, but also when Smoke was trying to do the talking, hey man, don't do this. Hey, if I see you playing that music, I'm gonna keep. That wasn't his thing, right? But then when the toward the end of the movie, when Stack is now a vampire and now he has more, he's like bolder now, right? Because now he's ready to punch some shit in. But then also too, you realize, now he's a vampire. He's just different. Same deal with after everything happens.
No, I admit that he is different. I'm saying I think that Sammy would be more afraid of the fact that he's a vampire now, more so than because if he was thinking like if it was
no. But I'm not saying the afraid part of the vampire piece. I'm saying, but like look at the last scene, right?
Yeah.
With Smoke. Smoke was able to talk to him after that and actually resonate with him. Hey, go home, do this. I want you to go to that church and blah 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 and do all this kind of stuff. Because at this point now, Smoke done saved him, of course, right?
Yeah.
But Smoke was actually able to talk to him in a way that actually got him to listen, and connect with him, which he couldn't do most of the movie. Versus Stack was able to do that most of the movie. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, he couldn't. Yeah.
And so it just seemed like and I guess kind of I guess what you're saying, where if you don't have the other one, you pick up, but it just almost seemed like a convergence in a sense, or like a role shift, where they learn to be the other person.
Right. I think they were a whole person. They were compensating for their other half that wasn't there. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But
I don't even think it was a compensation, because it just seemed different after that.
If they're both half and they both get the other half to go with them, then they're two wholes, right?
I mean,
so they'd be both similar to each other, right?
I mean, yeah.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Example: Smoke's normal process is to just punch his way out or kill something, shoot something. It like end it, like done. But after that transition, look what he did. He used his mouthpiece in making Stack promise to not do something, as opposed to the violence,
right?
that he would normally do.
Yeah, because his brother wasn't there to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, I guess we're saying the same thing. I just, but seeing it though, I guess it was just really good. That was one of the things that
and that showed great detail, his acting ability to even do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He was acting his butt off, and like I said, I've seen him in a lot of stuff even since he was a kid on soap operas and stuff. He acted his butt off. Like I looked at him on the screen, it's like he's like a familiar stranger. I know that face, but I don't know him.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Ryan Coogler made a comment about how he came on set as one of the brothers and he kind of threw him off. And I saw exactly what he was talking about watching the movie. Like, that's not the same dude. Like, that's a totally different dude. Now, I know they had in the beginning these cues of red and blue, So one had red, one had blue, but the acting was so good, you didn't even need those cues. I started ignoring it. At first, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he got the red hat and he got the red car. And then he got the blue cap and got the blue truck. And they're separating out. No, okay. But after that, I didn't really need it because their personalities were so different and how they moved with stuff. And like you said, one person would be all the action. The other person would be like, I'm throwing you a knife. When you want to smoke, I'm rolling you up something and I'm giving you the smoke.
Yeah.
And you find out he needed his brother because he had the shakes on his hands. So he had a real bad shake. So his brother was there being there for him. And having a brother that I was really close to, it meant a lot to me to see the interaction of them two. And if you start talking salty to them, how one might be behind you and you don't even know it while you lock the conversation on one, the other one's behind you.
Yeah.
To possibly be ready to take you out. Like
that was good.
A shorthand between the two and stuff, and just how they could be close in a way and share moments that if they wasn't twins or brothers, you'd be like, what's up with them? You start questioning their sexuality. But it's just like you could be that close. And I love you couldn't put any stank on it because they were twins.
Right.
You could see it done right. You could see it where it feels good. You could see it where it's still manly, but you still need your brother. You still need that man connection. You still need that brother connection. And it's all right. That's how it looks. That's how it looks. And they loved women, that's for sure.
Right. Clearly, yeah. I mean, clearly,
So that was no problem. And then you see
you told me you love me.
Right.
And I told you to keep moving, don't talk to me no more.
Right. And speaking to that, Ryan Coogler and his love for black women, or just women in general, I love how he made these tough guys have to tell each one of those women, Mary and Annie, profess their love and the truth to them. Those women made them tell them the truth.
Right.
You could tell it's hard for them. They're almost even speaking in third person.
Right.
But they had to give it up. Yes, it still hurts me to come back here with my baby being gone. How come we couldn't save our baby? But I still love you. And she's talking in her language, talking about, but your body can't forget mine.
Yeah. Or even with him being out and doing what he's doing,
right?
She still has praise over him and still has him with the mojo
and protects him. And protects him. And even though he don't really believe in it, she's telling him to his face, well, how you think you came back here with all your legs and your eyes and you survived all this stuff? Think of what you did and think of what you came through. And then think about how that happened. And that kind of got him crazy. He's like, whoa. And then he gave it to her for the recharge because he know it works.
Well, but what's crazy is that, one of the things that was craziest about that scene, when he was in the house with her, she tells him about the magic and tells him about like, this has been protecting you. I mean, one of the hardest parts of hearing that was when he said, well, why couldn't the magic save my baby? Oof, that was tough, man. That was tough.
And she gave the true answer of she don't know, because you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how stuff works. You just
Right,
know when it works. And certain
right,
people just kind of have things, and it was almost the same way where his brother Stack had to profess his love in an indirect way to
right,
Mary,
right,
and
right,
saying all the stuff that he couldn't say out loud. And it was beautiful to
right,
the point where she didn't get mad. She cried. Tears
right,
ran down her face because she knew it was true.
right.
And it was just like, man, and I understand being in a situation where things have happened to you where you're so afraid of something, you just got to push it away because
Right.
what it means to you is too much, and you can't have that close of a liability. That's why some people
Yeah.
aren't made for relationships. That's why some people ain't made for having kids. That's why people are not, because people are built different. It's
Yeah.
so much. It's such a high responsibility, and not burden in a bad way, but a burden in a way of you and your peace of mind, your everything, just being available to a world you cannot control, and it's
Yeah.
out there. It's you, but it's outside of your body. That takes something special, and
Well, I think
it's not for everybody. And so
I,
it just need to kind of hear that said out loud.
to add on what you said, like, and to add like on how the character, like, you can say something without saying something. Like, so
Yes.
for example, right, Stack saying what he said to Mary, right? And not being able to say certain things to her, even though that's his character deal, is
Yeah.
the talk game. Like,
Yeah.
but this is the one he can say. He literally, dude is like 8 feet taller than him, and literally said, "Fuck your wife in front, fuck your pregnant wife in front of you,"
Mhm.
or says whatever. But he can't say this. But not that he can't say it, he don't want to. It's not that he can't, because he finds a way to say it, but it's just hard for him. Like,
Yeah,
but
because
it's
he's not
honest and
hustling.
real. Yeah,
But when it's a hustle, he could say anything.
yeah, right.
Because he knows the punchline of that joke of him saying that already. It wasn't
Right,
like he
right.
said it like he meant it. He said it because he has something to offset it.
Right, yeah.
That straight talk to his woman, ain't no offset to that.
Right. Or even with Smoke and the non-belief, like, I'd have been across the world, I'd have seen this, ain't no magic, blah, blah, blah. But you could tell at the end he believed it because he took it off.
Yeah, he believed it when she broke it down to him.
Yeah, well,
Like
no, but I mean,
because he
like, well, but even then, right? I mean, yeah, believe it, broke it down. I don't think he fully got it though. Like, he didn't fully. I don't think he fully comprehended it, only because, after what he said, after what she said about the baby, right? But then when his brother was like bleeding out and dead, and she's like, "Hey, you need to take him out of here because vampires, or can't your magic heal him?" Blah 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 blah. Like, I think it was starting to, but I don't think he fully believed it until the end, where he pulled the necklace off, because he knew what he knew what he was about to do. Like,
I think he believed it when he had that expression on his face when she broke it down to him about all the stuff she survived, and then gave it to her to re-up it. And then the reason why I know that he believed it, because when that same situation you talk about where his brother was dying, before he accepted that he was dead, he asked her, "Can you give him magic to bring him back?" And when she said no, that's when he accepted that my brother's gone.
I mean, yeah, but that was like, to me, in my opinion, that was a crisis moment, like, where you're just trying to scratch at every different type of thing.
No, I know, but still, before, he didn't want nobody even touching him before. But until she said that she couldn't do anything about it, that's when he said he was.
No. But I mean, yeah, but him dying, to me, well, okay,
because he did die, but he wanted her to bring him back and asked, "Did you have any kind of magic to bring him back?" And when she said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't," that's when he accepted it.
Accepting him dead different to me, where accepting like the magic is real. Like we know, like, for example, right? You could go your whole life and thinking this one thing.
Yes.
And then somebody tells you, "Oh no, actually it's this thing," but it's just because they told you that. But again, until you experience it, you can have some belief of it, but you might not fully believe that this is what it is.
No,
until it plays out to you.
Yes, for some people, yes, I believe it. I agree. But we're just kind of talking about when we think he had his belief of the situation. And you're saying when he pulled it off at the end, and I say I think he believed it when he talked with her and she said that to him. And that's why I believe when it came to his brother, he didn't really accept him really passing, and actually thought to ask her, "Can you do anything to bring him back to save him?" Not just because it's like the panic thing, like, "Hey, doctor, can you patch him up real quick?" It wasn't that kind of stuff. It was this other big thing that he was, questioning before. Like, if they didn't have that conversation before, I don't think he would have asked her about her magic bringing him back.
I think those are two checkpoints in the wrong direction, to be honest. That's me. I think hey, why didn't this work for our baby? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so that means this shit's not real. Hey, can you use this to bring my brother back? No. Okay, that means this shit's not real. Okay, but she done told me that this shit protects me the entire time. And somehow I'd have made it through wars, this, that, and then I'd have made it through this vampire, made it through my brother trying to kill me, and then also killed the devil vampire himself.
And they even showed where, and he probably wouldn't have noticed it because he's the one laying down, but you could see his brother couldn't bite him because of that mojo bag.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So at that point, then it's like, this might be for real.
But I'm saying, I don't know if he even saw that.
He did.
I don't know if he did or not.
We'll watch it again. He did.
Yeah. I'm just saying, the angle of it looked like he was trying to come down on him, so he don't know.
But again, it's stuff like that where it's like, I'm supposed to be dead right now, but I'm not.
Just like when he was in war, just like he was in Chicago, just like when he was in those other situations.
But he didn't know. It's like if your parents are paying for you your whole life, or somebody's paying for you your whole life, and you don't even know they paying for you, and then all of a sudden they tell you, yeah, I've been paying for you, and you like, man, fuck out of here. Like, y'all ain't been paying for me. And then you get the rug slept from under you or whatever. And then you see, here go the records. They have been paying for me this whole time. Wow. Now I know.
So now they would ask for money, right?
No, you didn't know about it.
No, then they know about it. So then when it happens and the situation happens, that's when they ask for money. Because now they see that's where the money came from.
I mean, they can, but that's an extra part of the analogy.
Well, the extra part is when his brother got bit and he was asking her for the money / bring my brother back. Can you do anything to bring him back?
And she said no. That also adds to, this magic isn't real because she can't bring my brother back. Just like she couldn't bring my baby back. She kind of just talking.
She said it worked. She said it worked for him. That's what she said.
Yeah, I get all that. But it's just like, okay, well, when I need it to work, it's not working. Even though, again,
he's wearing it.
It was.
Maybe if he's wearing, maybe his brother's wearing it, his brother would have been all right.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But again, it didn't really hit him until he was like, okay, this whole time, right? Mm-hmm. Even after the brother situation, the cornbread situation, Cornbread yanked this fool out the room, out the building, and was about to bite the arm. Something happened. And he got saved. Okay. Then when all these motherfuckers in here, and then all of a sudden, and which we didn't get to that part of the movie about some of the illogical parts of it, but something else happened, and somehow he survived. Then the fight with the brother, somehow he survived.
The mojo bag.
Yeah, the mojo bag. But then it's like, this actually works. Pull it off.
I think he knew it worked. Okay. Yeah. I think he believed it worked already, but that's fine. But yeah, I knew he took it off because he's ready to die. He wanted to be with his family, with his woman and his baby. Yeah, because he couldn't stay with his brother actually, and he was tempted because even when he's at the door, he's gonna let himself go out a little bit. And everybody kind of pull him back, like, "Oh no, stay in here with us," and they close the door.
And the crazy thing is, he didn't even know that he wouldn't even have. I know he didn't believe it, like. Because he was ready to go out there not knowing that he wouldn't even been able to be bit in the first place.
I think he would have pulled it off.
I don't think he would have pulled it off because he would have known that it didn't work.
When his brother would have went for him and he saw it wasn't happening, he would have took it off.
Just like he took it off when the brother tried to bite him when he was fighting him.
He didn't want to die. He was fighting his brother to live. He was trying to die with his brother before when they was talking that stuff, and he got kind of lost.
Yes.
Later on, he was fighting for his life. Otherwise, he would have stood there. His brother would have tried to went for him. He was like, "What's going on?" But he was fighting to keep him off. The only reason why we saw that it was working because he was getting close to him and it wasn't happening.
Exactly.
But he was fighting them off. It wasn't like he was arms down, laying there. His brother getting on top of him. So that means he wanted to live.
I get all that, but I'm saying I don't think. But again, going what you're saying, I don't think he knew. I don't think he fully believed that the power worked until after the brother had died, and then it's these situations where he just somehow made it. Like that's what it was. Like until he recognized that. But I'm sorry. All right, we get off topic off that. But if you don't mind, let's pivot to like some of the funnier, silliest moments in the whole movie.
Okay, and I was a little surprised because it was getting heavy here and there, so I was pleasantly surprised that it was kind of light in some places.
Well, it was silly, like, but I knew you needed to progress the story, right? But it was just like, really? First off, why in the world did Cornbread need to go all the way over there to take a piss?
Right. Because it's a horror movie.
Yes, yes. Number two, why did they just throw that Asian lady outside? Like, just toss her ass outside. She want to be out there? Okay, go ahead and go. Because you ain't finna let them in here. But, psych, joke's on y'all. How did you get motherfucker? Whatever she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have tossed her ass outside. Number three, when they actually got invited, and somehow all of them didn't just die, though. Because it was like 30 vampires and 5 of them. Like, it was kind of weird.
There were extra people popping up to get bit. I'm like, who's
that?
The extra guy they threw out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was wild. That was messed up.
Right. That was wild, but it wasn't on purpose, but it was funny though. It was funny.
Yeah. And then when Delta Slim sacrificed himself, and which was cool. I mean, that was admirable. But come on, bro, you ain't gonna take nothing out with you? Like, really? Like, you can't set nobody on fire? Like, you can't blow this joint up? Like, you just...
And the plan is to jump out the window, off the second floor. That's the plan?
That's the plan.
Like the young boy could barely make it. So you think all the old folks gonna...
Oh, my
people
God.
ain't gonna make it. Somebody gonna break a leg, and they gonna hobble.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, I was like, bro, what? Those 4 parts... Because, see, the Chinese lady... Her part to me was the wildest part of all of them, to be honest, because I know she wasn't thinking clearly, and they weren't either, because they was in crisis. So I get it. Because she's thinking, oh, I need to get back to my daughter.
Yep.
But here's where that plan breaks the fuck down. Because the main vampire, his goal is who?
Sammy.
Exactly. Sammy's in a building that they can't get into, but his only goal is to get to Sammy. So why would they go into town? Because they all surrounding him, and he's trying to get to Sammy, Sammy is in the building that they can't get into. So why does she think the daughter is going to be in trouble if all of them are trying to get to Sammy? Because he's trying to get to Sammy. The daughter was super safe, to be honest, because she was with Sammy. He's the most dangerous person in the city right now, because the vampire wants him.
Yeah, but I don't know. As a threat, her husband could go there and go home.
Nobody's leaving because everybody wants it's a cult family surrounding the main vampire. The main vampire said, I'm not leaving here without Sammy because I want to see my family or whatever, homeland, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. They weren't going to leave because if that was the case, he'd already sent them out. He'd have been sent them out for what? That night, they were good. Yeah. Everybody in town was good that night because they was out there till the sun came out.
Yeah.
The daughter was good. No, that was a wild thing to me. Like, and nobody thinking about that. Like, Sammy is the one he hit. Like, to be honest, if the daughter was next to Sammy, then I'd be worried. But ain't nobody because if that was the case, to me, they didn't already talked about how they know the Klansmen are coming back to kill all of them. Because the white boy was the nephew or the Grand Dragon, whatever. So
Reunite told the whole plan
about the Klan and all these black people that he just bit up who are automatically worried about the Klan, he just sent them to go fuck off the Klan.
Right.
No, he didn't do that though. They wanted Sammy because he wanted Sammy, and then he wasn't gonna leave without Sammy.
But Reunite even said that he was gonna go and probably just take out them Klansmen anyway. He even mentioned saying he was gonna do it himself. So after we get done here, we'll go over there and get them.
After we're done here.
Yeah.
That means the daughter was good. Because after we're
people make threats all the time that people are concerned about, and they'll move on somebody's threat, even if it don't make sense.
Yeah. I know it. And don't get me wrong, I knew it had
That's what a threat is.
I know that they had to mess with her so that she could let him in, so the story could progress. But I'm just like...
And the thing about it is, if it wasn't her, it would have been a black person doing it, and then we would have been really been...
No, because we was good. We were good.
Those vampires had to get inside.
Well, exactly. I get it.
So either somebody's gonna say it, and since Mary was already turned, it couldn't be her because otherwise it would have been Mary. So if it wasn't Mary, then it was Grace. And if it wasn't Grace and nobody else in there would do it, guess what? They would have burnt that barn down, and all those people would have ran out.
No, they wouldn't have burned it down because something could have potentially happened to Sammy.
Sammy would have ran out. Who gonna sit there and burn in the middle of the barn? I'm just saying they were getting in. How about that?
No, I know that. I know it had to happen for the story to progress. I just think again, the logic was silly, just in general. Like, I mean, but I know it had the logic of walking 8 miles away to go pee is silly.
Yeah, it needed to happen.
That was the stupidest thing. Ugh. Like, cause I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, where did everybody else go to use the bathroom?
The thing is, I don't really know how far he really went, but I know he took a long time because he was bit.
He went hella far. He went past all the cars. He went hella far. No, and then he didn't even go to an outhouse that would have been, in a sense, relatively close for, a woman to use the bathroom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mississippi still got outhouses. I know somebody that just has, they family just had them like 30 years ago. So it's like, okay, well, shoot. Okay, well, why did he need? So anyway, silly plot point that needed to happen for the movie to happen, right? Because we needed that to happen so that we could see that they needed to be invited in. And I just think it's so funny that how social media has like overhauled on that part, because it's just so funny. Like, literally, I've seen 18 skits on just that part alone because it's so silly. Bro, you was security. What you mean you need an invite to come in?
Right.
You the one that controlled the access here.
Right.
Why you need to be invited in? Hold up. So I just thought that was funny too. But I know it needed to happen. This is hella funny.
Yeah, because like, why you need to? Because we're family, and I just want my friend. He got hurt, and we gotta do stuff. Do what? What we gonna do?
Right.
Stuff, stuff.
Well, you know what? If you're not gonna be cool, just give me my money. Like, it's just like, bro, you was just in here. Why you need an invite to come in?
Right.
Well, I'm just trying to be, polite and what? Like, nah, bro. But I think in a grand scheme of things, that is hilarious. So you think about that, right? Like, evil spirits can't just come in. You got to invite them in sometimes. Yeah. And then also too, right? Where
that's
it's like,
most things that you mess up your life and stuff is by what you invite in.
Yeah.
We don't think of it like that, but friends and family you invite in, or bad situations. A lot of our stuff is self-inflicted, more than we would hate to believe.
Right. And the other part too that you honed in on about Mary, like you said, because it would have been Mary, but she was already big.
Because she used her privilege earlier in the movie.
Well, you think about
she should have minded her damn business and stayed inside the house.
Yes.
But she had to go flex. And it's just one of those kind of things where it's above your pay grade, but you just using that privilege to go out there and show what you're going to do. Like, even if she had a gun that she did, what was she going to do in that situation?
Right. Shoot all three of them? Get out of here, lady.
The men knew not to go do that.
Right.
So what do you think she going to do? She going to use her passing, her whiteness to, do, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just interesting to see, like, she was getting her Karen on and it backfired.
Well, but the other part, even add on to that, yes, totally agree. Like, to add on to the second part, co-sign on that would have been like, to take it on that deeper level, like, the infiltration, though. Because of her heritage. Yeah. Right? So, she can use her privilege to go do that, but then she brought the evil in because she had a little drop of, and so she was passing, right? And I do air quotes on that, y'all, passing. And then, wolf in sheep's clothing. And you just think, oh, it's all good. And all of a sudden she on this motherfucker's neck, like, draining him. It's like, whoa, like, we didn't see that coming. Well, you didn't want to see that coming because, you thought she could pass. I thought that was interesting too. It's cool. Like, she just come on in here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was funny too. Don't get me wrong. I loved all of the movies.
No, it had some stuff in there. It had some stuff in there that was kind of, different. But like I said, that lends to horror movies. So you can't have all this stuff without bending a little bit with with ideas and situations and stuff. Like I said, if everything worked out how it should, you wouldn't have a movie.
Right. And it worked. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, it pushed the plot. I think it all worked. It's just like those deeper kind of hidden messages, those undertones. Like you said, the privilege Karen part, but also the infiltration part. And the Native Americans chasing him too. I mean, that's crazy. Like, but then you think, okay, well, dang, Mary was the type of person, but, woman-wise, that it literally would have been a Mary that infiltrated us. But on the flip end, for them, Choctaw Nation and all them, it was the white guy that married the Native American princess, whatever. They had a baby, and all of a sudden, the white man get part of that reservation now because he in. Now his whole family get to control that, and it was just like, dang, they done threw that in there too. Damn, like you know what I mean? Like,
wait, you saying that happened in that?
No.
Oh,
the
okay.
concept of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
all
true.
Infiltration, like
and it was
strategic part of it. Yeah,
right.
Because I mean, she used it once she was a vampire. She used that to her advantage of because her asking to come in way different than when Cornbread did it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the woman, but also the Mary's just married. Like all that she used all that in that one moment to get Cornbread to let her come in, and then to get Stack to who had been the whole night. I mean, the whole day actually. Get from around me and I can't do this and blah blah blah. To let's go in the room.
But then also you see how she kind of dealt with him separate from his brother. And
yes.
so she got away with more. She knew both of them. So she knew how to move with them and stuff. So
Smoke was like, you need to get rid of her.
And then also after hearing about how they didn't make no money and how they're gonna be running out of money soon, because this wasn't working out with these wooden nickels and stuff like that, that they really did need some money. So she really was trying to come through for them and get that money. And so that's why Stack was like, go for it then. If you think you could do it, go for it. He's like, I can do it, but go for it if you got it.
Right.
So all that stuff was cool, and I get it. And she was trying to do a good thing that just kind of turned bad. But that doesn't mean she wasn't using her privilege both ways to move around. And I thought it was kind of interesting too, even though the vampire Remick made a good deal about inviting them to be a part of this community and stuff like that. It was just kind of like, it just reminded me of us, like, being African Americans kind of acclimating. And even though you're supposed to be quote unquote together in a community, you lose so much. You give up so much by doing that. So when we saw those guys dancing around doing the jig, even though they were doing it together as a community, it was off because it was like a bird running or something, or a dog flying, like they're together, but it just doesn't match up.
Right. What do we give up?
So it's neat to see that. So it's neat to hear the idea of it, the dream of it, but to see it where it really looks like it doesn't quite look right. And so that's kind of like how we gotta be
just cognizant of that.
Cautious of the community. And what you give up by having that, and by inclusion, what are you losing by having that? What's the cost of that? Because you seeing you're together in community, but on the outside looking in, it looks crazy.
Oh, it does, and also too, right? Like that whole concept of once they're in, now it's
all of ours.
You got a MichaelBJordan, you got a Stack who's like, hey man, come get in this, man, because it's beautiful, man. It's great, man. Come on, let's then you take it to the next level. When I said, no, I don't want no part of that. Now I'm going to convert or die you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to force this on you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, damn, bro. Like, if you want to do that, that's your business. Like, hey, whatever. No, you got to get on this too. Like, and I'm and then it's just like, damn, like, all right, like all those.
It's very familiar. Like we kind of went through this not too long ago, where it was the turning of the screws of, hey, I don't want the soda. No, you're not thirsty. No, you're not thirsty. Okay, well, if you don't drink it, then don't you love your granny?
Yeah. Like you're like, wait, what? Like,
don't you love your granny?
You're like,
really? First, it's just me. But if I'm fine. I'm not thirsty. Okay, that's good. Let me walk away. Good. Come back, knocking on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, your granny looks thirsty. Don't you want to take your granny something to drink? But you gotta drink something before you go take your granny something to drink. Ain't she thirsty?
You're like, well, wait a minute. Hold up. You coming on a little strong. Like
you don't want to drink? You don't want to drink? Hey, you don't drink this drink, you can't go to work.
You know what?
You will lose your house.
Yeah. You know what? You can't fly if you don't get this drink. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it's a turning of the screws. You don't know the truth of it until you say no.
Yeah. Then you think, okay, yeah. There has to be a reason why you're trying to force this on me. Like, it has to be, like,
community, love and community.
Got it.
For the prosperity of us all.
Got it. But he in charge, and he the devil.
Ignore the devil. You thirsty? We're all thirsty. Let's have a drink. Let's have our community. Let's be one.
Well, I tell you what, I like going out in the sun And I heard that's something that I can't do if I drink this drink. So I'm gonna just pass. No, you gonna get this.
I will burn down this house, and you're gonna drink this drink, so your ass won't be on fire.
Yeah, if you don't drink this drink, I'm gonna take your driver's license. If you don't drink this drink, you can't fly.
Can't see your grandma.
Can't see your grandma. You got to be 6 feet away if you don't drink this drink. And if you don't drink this drink, you can't even stand in line at the movie theaters to get some popcorn if you don't get this drink.
Nope.
Bam. And you need proof.
Thirsty now?
Where's your bite mark for the proof? Where's your bite mark?
Hey Wayne, want some chips?
And after you take that first Coca-Cola, that first soda, oh, we got another soda.
We got a 6-pack.
You got a 6-pack, that you need to take in a set amount of time, and then you'll be all right. But don't worry, if you're thirsty in between,
you'll still be thirsty though. That soda makes you thirsty, right?
Yeah, so it
makes you more thirsty. Okay. Yeah.
You're still gonna be thirsty,
yeah,
but
you're still be thirsty. Yeah,
because
it's not really quenching your thirst because it's not water.
Yeah,
it's soda.
It's soda, but if you're thirsty, which you will be, but you still need to drink it.
Yeah, because it got sodium in it, so you're more thirsty than when you first drank it because it's not water. But you should drink water, but don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
Don't drink water.
Don't drink the water.
You lose your podcast if you drink the water. Water is for horses.
If you drink the water, you lose the podcast. If you tell people not to drink the soda, you lose your podcast.
Right, because
if you talk about the ingredients of the soda, you lose your podcast.
Because water is for horses.
Because water is for horses. And the man that's in charge of all this is telling you to just sing the song and drink the soda.
And dance, monkey.
And dance. Damn. Don't worry about all that. Just drink the soda, dance the dance, and sing the songs.
I will say this, that for this movie not to really mention race that much, and it didn't lean on the blackness that much or the whiteness and none of that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, the main villain kind of disregard the whole thing because I can't be in here because of this.
Yeah, that.
For this movie not to really be about that, it was about that in other ways.
Oh yeah,
it went under other umbrellas.
Oh yeah, it was so many racial.
It wasn't one umbrella labeled race, but it was a whole bunch of them that had the same. They were done under different covers, but it kind of covered the same ground. How about that?
Yeah. Just like one of the biggest things also too about this movie that you really validates it and also adds to it is the actual historical context that they gave. Apparently, in the movie in the movie they have the Chinese store. And where the husband owns the food part of it, but the wife across the street owns like the flour part of it. And apparently in that time frame, in the whole Delta, that Delta section of the country, Mississippi and all that little area, that couple in that store is based on a true place. And the store is still there today, but it used to be 2 stores, apparently. And it was on both sides of the street.
Hang on. I'll tell you something I noticed before you even say that, just to see if it matches up with what you're about to say.
Okay.
When I watched it, I noticed that they went to the store to go, and the dad came from the back.
Mm-hmm.
All the customers were black. When they say, go get your mom, the daughter, she walked across the street, all the folks over there were white.
That was it.
And the prices were higher.
That was it.
Okay.
That was it.
Do I be watching the movie or don't I be watching the movie?
That was it. No,
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I peeped that it was white, but I saw so many black people in the street that I didn't really peep it.
They were across the street, and then you heard one guy talking about they're shooting over there.
Yep. That was it. So the real store that's there now used to be 2, and there was a side for white people, and then there was a side for black. It's the daughter or the granddaughter. She's like 70-something. But she was talking about it. She was like, it was 3 lanes on the street too. 3 lanes. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, 3 lanes. There was the lane for the blacks that was on the one side, lanes on the opposite side for the whites, and then there was a lane for the Chinese that happened to be there too. Yeah, that was a real situation that he put in the story. Crazy.
That's why this simple movie felt so much bigger than it was. That's why, because he was on a checkerboard playing chess. That's what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, even the Choctaw part, like even that Choctaw piece, of, where they know about this stuff, which is, again, a culture or people that stay connected to their history, right? Because they keep it all in the same, right? So they know about vampires and they hunting this mug. Same deal with, Annie staying in tune with the history so she know about it. I mean, that part is crazy too, because that's just what it is. But the Klansmen hate their history. Like, what? We're not from England. I mean, but you kind of are though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but they hate, so it's like we cut ties with that. But at the same time, most of us don't know the history, not because we didn't want to, just because it was taken. So we wouldn't know about the center part of it, right? The music transition. I mean, that transition space and time. We wouldn't know about the voodoo as much and don't believe in it as, blah, 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 blah. Right. We don't know about how sometimes the infiltration will be in your lap. It's crazy.
Yeah. They'll flip our blessings and use them against us, and corrupt it, and we don't even understand that's what's happening.
That's right.
Like, this is not the original recipe. It's been infiltrated and corrupted and sold back to us, and we don't even recognize it.
I just thought about this. Might get your podcast taken off, but let me just say it. Going back to the religious spirituality part of it, right? The voodoo part that was in the movie, and technically, just say embedded into the mojo, right? The mojo around his neck. They couldn't bite him because of how powerful that was. But then you think to the Lord's Prayer, the spirituality part versus the religious part.
Yeah. It confirmed the voodoo or mojo part worked. Yes.
The spirituality part, that the voodoo that's been tied to, our ancestors before we got here, versus the
Christianity
belief system, depending on, where you come from and all what you believe in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you dig into the history. Hopefully this movie makes everybody dig into the history. They start looking into Constantine, the Council of Nicaea, and William Shakespeare and all that sense too, and all those people who wrote the King James version of the Bible and what they believe in now. So then you think, okay, well, what? Wait. The vampire was able to spit this too? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
like there's no power in it.
Yeah, exactly. And that should tell you something. Like, but
the vampire even said they sold this to me too. And he said they said that when they took my land too. The Irish guy took my land too. And they gave me this religion. And he said, even though, even hearing it warns me too. But he also was like saying ain't nothing to it.
Ain't nothing to it.
Right. So yeah. I thought it was kind of bold too, especially it being a quote unquote black movie.
Yeah.
Usually we don't do that. But I said that earlier about how he was saying the Lord's Prayer thinking that was going to save him. And when it didn't, he had to move for himself.
Yeah, he had to do it for himself. Because
that wasn't really.
Our community is good to be like, oh no, it's okay, just pray about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what do I need to really do? Like, what are the actionable steps? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's why I thought it was very interesting that it was brought up, that scripture about when you're in a situation that you'll be given the tools to rise above it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pointed out on purpose. So when it showed up when it didn't work out, that's like a long-winded, backhanded compliment. And I thought it was
right. And you see what really worked.
How that was put out like that. I thought I said that touche, brother. That was very interesting how you worked that out.
What really worked
without saying it.
What didn't work. What really worked versus what didn't work. Like,
I said it was just so much and so many things that was going on with this. Yeah, man, it was a lot to chew on.
I saw this other thing that was talking about how like Hollywood is crumbling a little bit because it's not getting like the precious ideas like it used to. And these directors who do the ideas too, right? So not just the writers, but the directors that come with their own story, written screenplay, blah, 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 blah. Like a Ryan Coogler, right? They aren't stepping forward anymore because they weren't getting paid, or the studio tries to change so much of what they have. It's like, I might as well not even do this. Like, so they said Coogler actually, like, kind of like in that contract you was talking about where he gets the full rights after 25 years, but he also petitioned for majority control in the direction of the film.
Yeah, I heard he had made it, and he kind of shopped it to him after it was kind of done, saying like, "Here, do you want?" He finished it and then shopped it after he finished it.
Yeah. So but most of it, so he would get to put in there a lot of what he wanted to, as opposed to some executive being like, "Oh, I see what you did. I see what you did there. No, you got to take that out." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I see what you tried to do. No.
But to be honest, the way it was done, I don't think a lot of them would have got it.
I think some of them would. I mean,
I think they would have thought the head vampire is white, and he don't really seem like a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, I think the way he did the bad guy, the lead vampire, I think that they would have been happy with the fact that that was their gimme. And then you got the quote unquote, racist Nazi / Klansmen getting their come ups at the end. It's like, okay, it's all right they're the obvious bad guys, so long as you get them. So I think it was kind of served in a way that would have been satisfying without you really thinking, because really all the stuff that they would probably want in there for them not to look bad or to be seen a certain kind of way was in there.
Well, I mean, but Django didn't kill a whole bunch of.
What?
He killed a couple of. But let me finish. He killed a couple of them due to the job role that he had, and it was only really like
due to the job role. What are you talking about?
Yeah, remember he was
on a plantation. What are you talking about?
Well, technically, he killed the two brothers at the first plantation, but that was in the name of the bounty hunter.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the plantation at the end.
At the end, yes, at the end. Yeah, I mean, I get he killed him at the end, like, in kind of like a self-defense kind of thing. But he was also like the main hero. But it was also like, again, you're able to do it because they were a part of the antagonist crew. So, like, because he's the hero, you kind of want to do it. But you can't just be normally just killing white people for, the sake of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Especially, so it's like he tastefully found a way to allude to the hood was in the nephew's house.
Yeah, no, it was like a self-defense thing, because they even said they were coming there to kill him in the kill box. So, like I said, he set it up nicely. Like I said, it's laid in a way where it could be.
You think? Wait. Were you talking about self-defense with the Django thing or with this one?
With this one.
No, I didn't see that at all. I saw him as like
those guys are coming to kill all them black folks in that juke joint. That's what he's coming to do.
That's what I knew.
So he was waiting for them, and he already told them at the beginning, if you cross this line after I pay you, then I'm taking out anybody, you and your friends that you say are not Klansmen, come back on this property line after I give you this money. We see you again. But they were going to trick them and kill them all inside that place.
Right. But
yeah, so it's self-defense.
They didn't know they was coming back. It was only when the vampire told them they was coming back.
No, they was already coming back. Vampire told them the plan, that those guys were coming back to.
Exactly. That meant they had no knowledge of them actually coming back until the vampire told them.
Yes.
But when he said, if you come back, we'll kill you, that means that was.
He told them that before, though.
Exactly. So that was like, no, we'll kill you. So it's like premeditated, we'll kill you. Does that make sense? It's not like you just showed up. It's not like you showed it to my house.
No,
without me knowing, and you walked into my house, and then I shot you.
That's like somebody coming to your house to do you harm, and you meet them at the front door.
Well, if I saw you in the street earlier,
for them it was the property line. Like, they could have shot him and got away with it if he was doing
totally.
that.
They could have shot him there.
So
yes.
It wasn't no crazy situation. Yeah,
it's rare that you get that opportunity to do that type of deal. Yeah. But again, it's not like, the Klansmen look bad, right? That's just that leaves to some folks, that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. Right. So, but just that opportunity, like, you don't really get that often, right? Because that's bad look. So
I just think that, like, on paper, Tarantino's movies would be heavier than this. On paper, it would seem like, but I think this one is deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
And if Tarantino was, he has his perspective. He don't have our perspective. So his only could be so deep because he has only a certain perspective. So ours could look less, but say more. And his could say more, but really be less. That makes sense?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So that's why I think that the way he constructed the movie, it could be for everybody. And you get as much as you bring in with you. And if you don't have a lot to give, you take it for a vampire movie. If you have some life experience as a black person, you're gonna take one thing. You take it going there as an Irish person, you'll take another thing. You go in there as an Asian person, you'll take, if you know nothing, it'll just be a vampire movie. So all these little levels, it's baked, ready to go whenever you're ready to take it out of the oven. And he's a genius for doing that.
Yeah.
This could be done by somebody else, and they couldn't know how to make it for everybody, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's too much. Oh, that's too hot. Oh, that's still frozen."
Yeah.
He knows the right temperature where everybody can take a bite and be fine.
Yeah, he perfectly made everything like interwoven.
And if your feelings is hurt, it's because you're on the wrong side of things. Okay, so on that note, it's great to wrap this up. So,
we've been on this for like, man, it's a good one.
It is. All right, so Wayne, do you have any final words?
No. Listen, the movie was awesome. I mean, I can't stress enough like how many of the undertones are just in the movie. I saw something where they said he was able to carefully craft like 4 or 5 other like black novels that they made movies off of too, but into this movie. Like, and one of them was the last movie that Chadwick was in. I can't remember what the name of it was, but there were like elements of these stories that are into this story.
Oh, okay.
So you think, well, where did he get that idea from? And then you would go actually look it up and like, oh, that's a novel? Oh, snap. Like, not like he's taking it and like claiming it to be his own.
I just saw an interview where he said where he got the vampires with just the red eyes is from Puss in Boots 2.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like how he just came, so like he just found a way to just kind of intertwine all the stuff. And I think it's just great like how he did it. It's just a lovely like story. And again, that scene about the music transitioning space and time is just next level. It was a joy that I didn't know I needed to see. And it was really powerful to go to see the future and the past all together. It was great. It was great, start to finish. Y'all go see it. Loved it. Y'all go see it.
All right, Captain Keith, what says you?
It's just an excellent film. When you go watch this film, you're going to get more than you bargained for in a good way. You're going to get a great story, and it finds a way to take the past, the present, and the future and tie it seamlessly, like Wayne was saying, basically. And usually when you see a story about Black people in the past in the South, it can be very painful. And there are parts of it that were, and there was lots of grit to it, but there were other parts that were great redemption and promise of a brighter future and just injustice. It was cool. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a must-have. It's a must-see. To me, it's already the best film of the year. So, I can't find anything really wrong with it. So, yeah, check it out, definitely, and stay to the very end. Because there's more to see. So,
right on. I have nothing but good things to say about it. Many levels you can enjoy this on. So if you're not looking for anything heady, go in there, just find, enjoy the interactions between the Michael B. Jordan acting his butt off, playing these two brothers and stuff. Just the way it's shot, how beautiful it is. I know stuff like seeing people picking cotton or seeing cotton fields could be intimidating and crazy, but the way it was shot was so beautiful. And he really gave the Black folks in here a lot of dignity. The characters had dignity. Matter of fact, I almost feel wrong saying just Black folks, just people. In the right context. It's such a wonderful thing to see. It's not many movies I could see in that time with folks without it being insulting or embarrassing. The way it was done, just so much dignity and pride in working the situation out. So it's more than just a simple horror movie, and it's amazing to see so many elements put together so well. And like everybody's saying about that scene with the interpretation of the connection of music and what it is, and it was just a sight to see. There's not very many things you could be around for. I'm over 50 now, which is I can't even believe. But even with that, to see something else new that you haven't seen, that is rare. And so I'll remember that scene for the rest of my life, like other moments and with the movies I love that I just like in The Matrix, and just things you see that be like, I never seen this before, and you're different because of it. And so I know it's a lot to put on a movie, but it's just, you just never know when you're going to find that. Sometimes it's in a song, sometimes it's in a movie, sometimes it's in art. It's, you know, you never know when you're going to see it or come across it, but you know when you feel it. And that's what I definitely did. I felt this movie, you know. And so it will behoove you to take it in and see it for yourself, you know, no pressure, but definitely go in all the, you know, proceeds and stuff, and it goes towards not only movies in the movie industry that really needs it, but also, you know, showing support for somebody like Ryan Coogler, who's putting their heart and soul into a project and showing that it's supported and appreciated. When we help others, we help ourselves.
And that support too goes to him being able to continue to make these stories, right? So I know they were talking about making the Mansa Musa film, right, about the world's wealthiest man, right? But it's like us showing support to his movies like this, you know what I mean, and movies like about our stories and not just about, you know, the typical, goes to him being able to make stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to the next project, but I'll be eating off this one for a while.
Right.
It was good seeing y'all. I'm glad we got a chance to come together to discuss Sinners, Ryan Coogler's new movie featuring Michael B. Jordan twice. It's Jay, Captain Keith, and Wayne the Q. Until next time, peace.
Peace easy.
He's somewhere out in space. Peace.
Mm.